Let me tell you something surprising. Most of the successful people that I've met, be it multimillionaires, elite professionals, top mentors, I didn't know. I had no warm introduction to them, no network. And really, it was just a simple message to them. And to my surprise, they actually wrote back and met me. And I want to tell you in this video how I've done that and how you could do that too. So, in a previous video, I talked about the importance of a destiny helper. And a destiny helper is someone that you admire, someone that can be a mentor or a coach for you. And of course, when you're starting out, maybe it's just podcasts that you're listening to. Maybe you purchase some online courses, whatever it may be, or you're learning from your work colleagues. But at some point, you will need a destiny helper if you want to be extremely successful. And these are just people who've walked the path that you want to walk. And it's important that you learn from them, learn from their mistakes, and also how they've been successful. So when I think about how I met people who were successful or who I admired that I didn't have any introductions to, when I was younger, I did an exam with FIFA and I got a football agent license and I wanted to work in football. So I actually wrote to every single football agent in the UK, literally, no word of a lie. Wrote to every single one. I actually physically wrote some letters and emails. And there was one that replied, and he's a really good guy and a friend of mine to this day. He's called Greg. He's Australian. He's based in France now. But he was a football agent that was based in the UK. I was living in Australia, and he just happened to be in Australia. So I had told him in the message that I was sort of backpacking around Australia, met him for a coffee, and lo and behold, I ended up working for him and we developed a really good relationship. And I still meet him and talk to him to this day. Went to Barcelona to scout players in the UK as well, and that was an amazing experience. I actually started to move into IT sales, and football became more of a passion in terms of watching and playing. But he's still an amazing contact to this day, and he passed on so much good knowledge to me. Another example is Grant Cardone's twin brother, who's called Gary Cardone. So the backstory here is I had been learning from Grant Cardone for quite some time. He sells material, and it helped me being, I would say, introverted at the time, really sort of gain a bit of confidence in my sales career. And I was able to apply different, I guess, techniques that he had. And I was really interested in the real estate that he was selling. So I spotted that he had a twin brother, and the twin brother happened to be in the UK in London, where I was living at the time. So what I did was I went onto Twitter and I saw that he had a profile on there. So I messaged him on there, direct message, and this can apply to anyone that you message is be authentically yourself. I mentioned, look, I'm sort of a big fan of your brothers. I studied all his material. I'm thinking of getting involved in the real estate that he's in. I know that you were the first person that he did a real estate deal with. Would you be open to a coffee so that I could sort of maybe just ask you a couple of questions on this? And here's the important bit. Always, always give that person an out. Don't make it like a demand. Tim Ferriss taught me this, who's the author of the 4 Hour Work Week. He said, just at the end, just let them know, by the way, if you can't meet me, or even if you don't respond to this message, that's totally cool. I understand that you're a busy person. And then he replied, and I ended up meeting him in a hotel in London, and it was scheduled for maybe 30 minutes. And the amazing thing was, he looked at his phone sort of halfway through our meeting, and I thought we were wrapping up. And he said, "Oh, my next two meetings are cancelled. Let's continue this conversation." And that was amazing for me. And he was totally focused on me, wasn't distracted by the phone, apart from obviously his meeting getting cancelled. And he gave me his time, which was super valuable. I brought a pen and paper, which I always mention on this channel, like bring that if you're meeting someone who's high profile like that. And I learned so much from him on that day. And we're still in contact today. I actually got to visit him when I visited St. Pete a couple of years ago, which was really amazing. And I've got to do investments in various different things. And suffice to say that it's really important to just authentically be yourself. And even when it comes to the corporate world as well, I've seen it too often where you have sort of maybe more junior people, and I was in that position, and we're all in that position at some point, who sort of almost like demand, like, oh hey, can you mentor me, can you coach me? It should never be a demand. There should always be that sort of giving them an out at the end of the message, right? And I've done this throughout my career. I remember when I was writing my first book, which was an ebook, there was a sales legend called Brian Tracy. And I actually sent an email to him. And once again, I asked for a testimonial for my book. And to my surprise, once again, using that same sort of, I guess, messaging, authentically being yourself, giving an out, he agreed. And he was a testimonial for the first book that I ever wrote. Another guy called Sean Roach, who is an amazing mind. He's known as the Think Engine. I saw him speak at a seminar, and I was just so impressed by this guy. And same thing, I wanted a testimonial for my book, and I just said, like, I really resonated with you when you spoke. And exact same thing, he agreed to this, and we've ended up meeting a couple of times, and I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, in fact. And whenever I need something, if I need to pick his brain, this is someone who's super successful, who at the time, even now, doesn't necessarily need to speak to me, but they want to do this. So this is an important lesson. And Gary Cardone said there's a lack of sort of the apprentice and the master in the world today. And he made that point. I thought that was really useful, because someone, when I went to meet him, by the way, said to him, someone on his team, why are you meeting this guy? He's not going to do a deal with you, etc. And he just said, if I don't do it, like, no one else will. So the point being that these people want to help you. Message them. If you work in a large corporate as well, feel free to reach out to someone who you think is super senior, superior to you. But guess what? They're not. We all want to help people. So they've been in your position, and all you have to do is ask. The worst thing that they can do is say no. But like I said, if you give them the out, I think it gives you a better chance of actually getting that meeting with them. And if they don't meet you, that's fair enough. But someone will at some point, if you are authentic and you give them the out. But just remember this, all it takes is one message, but you have to be bold enough to send that message. If you're new to the channel, my name is Gary, and I help ambitious professionals regain clarity, confidence, and direction with their life. Hit subscribe to the channel below, and I'll see you in the next video.